This is a look at my vSphere cluster in my home lab, and today is the day that 7.0 came out. It's April 2nd, 2020. And VCSA Appliance is the first thing you want to update in any such upgrade. And of course, you want to be absolutely sure to read articles to plan the update process, which include, of course, a link to things like, well, the README. You always want to read the README, okay? And here I just get into the downloads, and we've of course got the release notes. All right, your backup company, like your VM backup company, that also is something to think about before you upgrade to vSphere 7. But this video is going to show you how to actually do it. Now, I'm assuming you have VCSA Appliance backed up, or at least at a very minimum, a snapshot of it. All right, snapshot's not really backup, certainly not intended for long-term use. All right, and it doesn't take very long, especially if you're on a pretty fast data store. So the snapshot's now happening on the left for the VM I'm about to try upgrading in my home lab. You may wonder, why can't you just click on this update button? Well, you're going to see why soon enough. Major releases like going from 6.7 to 7.0, and prior to that, 6.5 to 6.7, this update facility doesn't let you do a major release, unfortunately. That is not a big deal, however. Okay, there's a point release since my version, 42300 from 42200. That's not a big deal, and I'm not going to bother doing that because I'm going to go straight to 7 now. Okay, so my snapshot's done. That's cool. And now it's time to actually proceed with how do you actually do an upgrade like this, since it seems like it's going to fail when you use the update button. Not a big deal. Had you read the install instruction and all that, you would know that all you got to do is this. So we have this large download, 6.7. It's about twice as big as prior releases, by the way. You double click it in Windows 10, and it auto mounts the ISO as a drive letter. So now we're looking at drive view. Cool. We want to go to the UI installer folder, and I'm on Windows. And now let's look for the installer. Double click that to open it. And here it comes. It's that simple. A wizard's going to walk us through the rest of it. So, my mouse is already over upgrade. Let's do that. So no need to mount an ISO or do anything fancy. This is going to do it for you. When I say mount an ISO, I mean, change your BIOS boot order and burn a CD of an ISO, or mount a bootable, or mount an ISO to the data store. You don't have to do that. It's far easier to just double click the ISO. And this gives us a little bit of a learn more. In an enterprise or large environment, you want to make darn sure you do all your homework here, including read all the learn more screens. I'm just going to point, I'm doing this as a quick lab test during a quick lunch break. Anything goes wrong, I can just roll back to my snapshot, right? This is not a big deal. But again, in production environment, a whole different world. This is really just a rehearsal. So, of course, you read the user agreement. Click Next. And this is actually already filled in. So this data was saved. This form already knew my VCSA hostname. So I'm typing in my VCSA password for the existing one. And the server that it's hosted on is the one I'm recording this video on, actually, 12 core Xeon. And it's that simple. Type in the password. Okay. All right. And what is the target? So which ESXi host or vCenter server name? All right. So in my case, I'm going to go with cutting and pasting it from right here. All right. Say yes. Okay, for simplicity, I'm going to leave this alone. Okay. Now we're going to have some time to talk about it when it's actually doing its thing. I'm going to leave it at tiny. There have been articles about the increase in the memory footprint. I think it went from 8 to 12. Not a surprise, given the ISO is so much bigger than prior releases too. Again, this is still a small lab, no problem with the number of VMs here. So I'm just going to click Next. All right, data store. Now I've got my data stores labeled with the host name that they're on. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on. I don't have an NVMe data store, so it's going to take a little longer than I would like. Actually, we can check page 2 here. 78 gig. Yeah, I'm not going to do an NVMe. I'm going to stick with where I was. And I'm going to go with thin disk mode. That's your option. But I'm still in an SSD, so I'm not at all worried about the performance of that. Okay, VM network. What it's actually going to do is create a new VM. If it succeeds in making the new VM, it's like an imposter. It'll go ahead and get rid of the old one, but only if it succeeds. My VM was actually DHCP, I believe. So let's have a look. So if we look at the networking on the existing VM that it's going to try to migrate, okay, we can't actually tell from there. Okay, so it was manual. All right. I'll go ahead and stick with static. And it says it wants a temporary network, right? Temporary. So we need to find an available IP. Why go hunting for one when DHCP will provide that? Okay, FQDN is optional. Okay, so hit next. Okay, it's going to deploy this VM. Hopefully it'll end up with the same MAC address in the end, and in that case I'll end up with the same name, vcsa.lab.local in the end will be my fully qualified name. Okay, we'll find out. And here we go. Now, I'm not going to be able to necessarily watch this whole process. This is going to take a while. An NVMe drive would be a little quicker than a traditional SATA SSD that we're currently on. I could take a quick peek at networking so we get a little insight together on what it's doing here. And it's sending at a rate of 250 megabits per second over the gigabit connection that I have right now. So this 6 plus gig of data is being staged or sent over. And we know what data store was going on. Remember this VCSA? And called it generically VMware vCenter server without any kind of version in there. And that's fine. And that host is going to show the 2 different VMs going. If we look at the IP address here, we'll see that it doesn't show one yet. Okay, I'm temporarily on 157. Okay, success. That is just stage 1. All right, and having a look here. Let's just go back to the host screen here and see all the VMs that are running again, and you'll see 2 are running. Okay, so now it's time to go to stage 2. Let's see if we can resize this at a normal size for screenshots. Great. So continue. And it gave me a warning. If this next step doesn't proceed, or basically it's pointing me to the IP address of that temporary IP address and what to type. I didn't need to type it. It worked automatically. Excellent. So we're done with stage 1. And it gives me a little warning of what's happening in stage 2 where the data copy actually happens. All right, so it's warning us that we can't have DRS happen. We can't have it try to vMotion this VCSA appliance over something in the middle of an upgrade. That's fine. So as long as fully automated DRS is not on for the cluster, I should be fine. And then it's telling us some other files are not going to be copied over. I think I'm going to end up with a different name In the end, we're not really sure, but I'll let this finish and we'll see how it goes. Notice we have different options. If we want everything, it's only slightly more, and it's going to take a little longer, but it doesn't even bother to estimate how much longer. Given there's only a slight difference in the amount of gigabytes, probably not going to matter. Pretty important to say yes to that checkbox if you want any kind of telemetry data to give you a sense of the health or any kind of connection to know how you're doing in a lab. I think that's not really that big a deal. Pretty good to opt in. Okay, and it's telling me that I need to verify that I've backed up my vCenter server, and I actually have two backups, both a snapshot and a clone of that VM as well, by the way. All right. Source will be shut down once the network configuration is enabled on the destination. All right, that's cool. Okay, it finished, and I think it finished around maybe 50 minutes after I started, and there was some talking in between there, but it finished with some messages. So it's warning me about old TLS being deprecated. That's fine. Complete. Cool. And check that out. We got the same old name. That's what I wanted. So we have a fresh browser tab here. Let's go ahead and paste that in and see if it responds. It does. Nice. Okay, so complete. Click the link below and press close to exit. All right. So what's happened here and what's going on this screen? Okay, yeah, it failed because we closed that session. That's fine. Because a whole new system is there. So let's see if we can get logged into vSphere again. So notice Adobe Flash is deprecated, so there's no vSphere web client. There's only vSphere client HTML5. I see a padlock. Okay, my save password worked flawlessly. So things are looking good. And I'll bet we'll find there's only one VM running at this point. But its host name will still be VCSA, because obviously that's what we're talking to here. Taking a little longer than I was thinking it would take to log in. And VAMI interface is what also had died, so I'm going to go ahead and check out VAMI. Let me bring up VAMI on another screen here. So VAMI, we're talking about VCSA colon 5480, right, and that port number. Is that responding as well? Yes, so that worked. Very first login to my vSphere 7 environment. There it is. Awesome. So quite pleased about that. All right. So licensing is a whole different matter for another time. I hear that the VMUG Advantage Eval Experience team is currently working on getting licenses for subscribers. That'll be cool. I'll be able to apply those. I might do a video about that. All right, why is this host disconnected? I'll tell you why. Because me and my testing, I wanted to see if I could actually jump the gun and see what would happen if I go to 7. What would happen is it breaks the connection and it wouldn't reconnect. But now that we have 6.7, we should be able to reconnect. Let's see what happens. And there's another bit of housekeeping to do, and that is look at VCSA appliances on the drives there, on that host, the 12 core that I'm on. But also clean up the snapshot. You never want to leave those hanging out. Okay, here it goes. Trying to reconnect. Nice. So it says complete, and we still have a yellow bang. Quick stats. I have seen that one before after a 6.7 upgrade, I think, from 6.5. Interesting. I'll need to look into that. And I got some storage fullness here, let's just say. All right, let's head over to this guy, the 12 core. with some VMs running, like my UPS monitoring appliance. That should still shut down ESXi automatically if power goes out in my house. There it is. The old VCSA appliance is powered off, and the new one's powered on. So remember I mentioned snapshots? So since it worked, I could go ahead and delete snapshots. I'll probably go for a few more hours or a day or two before I delete that, but at least it's off. So really not harmful at this point. Let's click here on the summary screen. And there it is, my imposter, my new VCSA appliance with the same old host name, same IP address. Let's have a look at VMware next and see if a refresh gets me going here on VMware. Excellent. Good health. Awesome. And let's let VMware do its thing and check for updates. This brings back memories of 2 years ago when 6.7 came out. There was no server to hit yet. So when you did a check for updates, you would get this error. The backend server's not ready. It doesn't know what the heck to make of 7.0, I guess, yet. But hey, this just came out, was it 5 hours ago, this code? So it's got them a little slack here. All right, we have no history there. That's kind of interesting. If we look at networking here, we should see that the IP address is fixed rather than DHCP, right? So it migrated all the settings. We know that. All my VM names show up again. There's a setting to turn off showing VM names. So I'll probably want to do that. I don't really like them showing here, and it turned that back on, I guess. So that's interesting. But anyhow, what I wanted to show you is monitoring of a cluster. Performance overview. Does it go back in time to before the upgrade? And the answer is yes. While there is a bit of an interruption here, as you would expect, looks like it worked just fine. So we did not lose performance data, including the CPU being quite busy doing some folding at home here in this cluster. Okay, just a quick footnote to my earlier video, which whined a little bit about showing all the VMs mixed together with the cluster view. It's easy to fix. So going from 6.7 to 7.0 lost that preference I had set, but watch how simple it is to go and fix. Inventory, show VMs and hosting clusters view. I'm going to turn that off. Also for default console, I'm going to go ahead and set VMware Remote Console to come up. And that's it. Okay. Interesting. I've got one orphan there hanging out. Not quite sure why. Let's go to VM view and let's toggle back to host view. Let's try the switch to new view. Whoa. Okay, that's my first time seeing this, and let's go to the cluster level. Okay, seems like I may have unearthed a little bit of a bug. It's okay, I'll just remove it from inventory and find it again. So the way to do that would be, let's get over to this data store here. So that's the data store we're going to want to go into. Let's say remove from inventory. So remember the data store was called this. I put that in my clipboard. So it's this data store. And you'll see today's stamp, it was actually booted. Register VM. Okay, it's registered. Now I go back to host view and I have a nice clean view of just 4 hosts. So there you have it. All right, notice updates. So this is the next step, update the hosts now that you have VCSA appliance. But that's for another video. And that's a whole separate topic about remediating or getting all your hosts up to 7.0. I have one there, and we've got a few more to go. Notice this new button? It's Lifecycle Manager. So stay tuned for more about this key feature for vSphere 7.0. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe. Bye now.